Okay, so here in the Vortex preset editor, I'm going to go to File and I'm going to go to Retrieve Preset. I've already plugged in the Vortex to the computer using a USB cable. So I'm going to go down here and I'm going to go to preset 13, which is one I made some changes to in part 1. So I'm going to get that now. So I've retrieved that. And I've already made some changes here from the previous one. Some of them already on channel 15. So what I'm going to do here now is I'm going to go to pad 2. And I'm going to set the colour on that one to green. And I'm going to set the channel to 15. Then I'm going to go pop down end here, click on this so I can get to the next 4 pads. Then I'm going to go to pad 5. I'm going to change that channel to 15. And I'm going to set the colour on this one to yellow, which is down there. And same with pad 6. I'm going to change that to channel 15. And set the colour to, well, I'm going to leave the colour on this particular one to blue. Okay, so now I'm going to click on the second tab. I'm going to go to faders. Now I'm going to set all these faders to channel 15. And that's all I'm going to do in the preset editor. So I'm going to go back to File, I'm going to send preset, and I'm going to send this preset back to preset 13. And that's that bit done. Right, so in Ableton Lite, I'm going to go back to File, and I'm going to go to Recent, and I'm going to open my demo 1, which is the live set that we set up in part 1. So all the settings from part 1. And now I'm going to go back up here to MIDI, turn that on so everything highlights blue again. And up here we've got this little circle here next to the new one here. This is known as a session record button. So I'm going to click on that one, and then I'm going to click on P2 on the Vortex, which will be the green button. Then I'm going to go over to here, this circle one here, and this one is the record button, which is slightly different from the session record. I'm going to click on this one, and now I'm going to press P5 or pad 5 on the Vortex. And that was the yellow button we set up. Finally, I'm going to go to this one here, the triangle, which is the play button, and I'm going to click on pad 6, which is the pad I left blue. And now I'm going to set some of the faders up. So I'm going to go to sound 1, which is this one here, which is MIDI 2, and I'm going to come down here, which is MIDI 2's got the snow pad on it, and down here is the snow pad. and I'm going to click on the volume button here, and then I'm going to move the fader F1 on the Vortex up and down, and that now will record and assign the F1 fader to the volume. So next I'm going to go and click on space amount. So this is the space amount one here. Now I'm going to set these slightly different, so I'm going to put this on fader F5. Once again, moving F5 fader up and down so it assigns it to the space amount. Now notice they've added these two up here, and there is a minimum and maximum slots here, so you could adjust it so that you could have it a smaller. So if you only wanted a fine adjustment, you could maybe change that to 100 to 127 or 50 to 75. Just by clicking on them you can change the numbers, but I'm going to leave them as they are for the moment. So that's that one I'm happy with. So I'm going to go to the next one, which is MIDI 3, which is this lead thicket, and down here that one's come up. So I'm going to click on the volume again, and I'm going to slide the F2 fader up and down. So that's now got assigned to that one. Now what I'm going to do with this sound here is I'm going to add to this sound, turn this MIDI off a minute, and I'm going to come over here, and down here we've got MIDI effects. So I'm going to click on the MIDI effects, and up here I've got the arpeggiator. So if I open that one up, what I'm going to do is going to click on this one down here, and I'm going to drag this one down in front of the synth for MIDI track 3. And now I'm going to go back up to the MIDI and turn the MIDI assignments on so it's blue highlighted again. Now I'm going to do something slightly unusual here. This button here actually turns the arpeggiator on and off. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to move the fader F6 up and down. So I'm going to assign that to the on and off. And basically what that's going to mean is that when the slider is moved to one end of its scale, it will turn it off, and when it's moved to the other end of its scale, it will turn it on. So the slider will actually act as a kind of as a switch. Right, so now I'm going to go to the fourth MIDI track, which is here, the space one, space choir, and that's come up down here. And once again I'm going to click on the volume, and I'm going to move fader F3 up and down. So that's now added the volume assignment to that one. So basically what I'm doing is setting up faders 1 to 4 as volume sliders. So what I'll do is I'll do the jarble lead one, which is MIDI 5. I'll do that one now. So I click on the jargon lead, MIDI 5, and I've come down here onto the jarble lead, clicked on the volume, and now I'm moving fader F4 up and down. So now my first 4 faders will control the volume of the 4 synth sounds that I've set up so far. I'm going to turn it off just for a minute, and then I'm going to come down and I'm going to change this up here. We're back here with the MIDI effects, and I'm going to close down that arpeggiator one. I'm going to open up the chord one, and I'm going to click here on the spacious choir, which is the MIDI 4 track, the 4th MIDI track. So I've got spacious choir here again, and what I'm actually going to do with this one is just down here, there's one called Eternal Sunshine, so I'm going to click on that and I'm going to drag that down and I'm going to put it in front of the spacious choir here. Now once again I'll turn on the MIDI by clicking on the MIDI button up here so I can highlight, and I'm going to come down here and click on the on off button for the Eternal Sunshine, and I'm going to move fader F7 up and down, so that now has been assigned to switch it to be like a switch again, and that's going to switch that Eternal Sunshine on and off. So I've come up here, I'm going to click on MIDI track 5, the jarbled lead, and on this one I'm going to click here, which is the delay amount for the jarbled lead, and I'm going to then move fader F8 up and down, so that one's now been assigned to there. So that's, I've now assigned all 8 faders, and these are them here. So basically each one of the synth sounds has got a volume control and one control for one of the aspects of the sound itself. So I'm going to come back up here and I'm going to turn the MIDI back off. So now I've kind of got these all set up on here now. So so if I go back to the snow pad, and if I now play the snow pad, so if I play the snow pad, I'm going to move the fader F1 up and down, so you can see I'm changing the volume of the snow pad with the F1, and if I do the same here, now I'm going to, if I now press down again on the snow pad and I move F5, you'll see that it's been moving this dial here on the space amount. And if I now go to the thicket ring, you see that here is, we've got the arpeggiator. So if I move across now, and swap to the lower zone on the Vortex and press a key, you can hear the arpeggiator on there. Well, now I'm going to move. Now I'm going to move fader F6 to turn it off, and you'll see now it's not highlighted anymore down here. So when I play now, there's no arpeggiator, and if I slide F6 again, it switches it on. Now I've got the arpeggiator working, and it's kind of the same thing. If I go to this track here for the lead, arm this one so I can hear this one. Now if I arm 4 correctly, so if I go into MIDI 4, and you'll see the sunshine here, and if I play that one, which is on the upper zone, That's it with the Eternal Sunshine on, and if I then move fader F7, I can switch it off, so if I switch it back on again, so that's my faders set up, so I can control the volume and some of the sound values of each of the synths. Okay, so now that I've set those up, I'm going to come over here and I'm going to click on the snow pad, and I'm going to arm the snow pad because that's the sound I want to be listening to. And I'm going to click up here on this first slot in the, and double click on that, so that brings up this loop here, and this is a 1 bar loop, but I want it to be a 4 bar loop. So down here where it says loop, come down to here where it says length, and then over here I'm going to put 4, and then if I click up here it'll set that to 4, and now I've got 4 bars in here. And now, because I've set up the pads on the Vortex, what I'm going to do is I'm going to press pad 2, and then I'm going to play some notes, and these notes are going to be recorded in this section here. And I'm going to press on pad 1, so that stops it. I'm going to press pad 1 again, so that I set it back to 0, which is 111 up here. And if you look down here now, you'll see that I've got some notes, and they're not all quite on here, so I need to click on this bit section here, and I just want to drag this down a bit. So there we got my first note, my second and third, and you'll notice they're not quite in the right place. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on this one, so that this one's green and not those two, and I can then just drag it so that it fits in on the note. And this one's a little bit short on the end, so I'm going to bring it to the end here, and you'll see it changes to the cursor changes to a different shape, and then I can just drag that to the end there. This one's pretty much in the right place, but I've deliberately ended short here because it's on a loop. When it had come back round to here to start again, if I had that note still playing, it would have then started to record it over here, and I didn't want that, so I stopped deliberately before the end, because I know I can come in here and I can just go to the end of it like this, and I can just drag it close to the end. I don't really want to go completely to the end. So now if I go up here and I click on this, and I can do that with the Vortex as well, because the blue note we set up, if I just put that back to 0, on the blue pad, which was pad 6, if I press on that now, that will start it off. And if I press pad 1, which is the red pad, that will stop it. So I can control it from the pads, because that's how I've set them up, or I can just use these here, whichever's more convenient. But down here now I've got this recorded, and this is on a loop, and this is on a 4 bar loop, so that is recorded into that section now. So anytime I play, that loop is in there. Okay, so that's all pretty simple, but that's that's just about as far as I wanted to go today. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to come up here just to be on the safe side, and I'm going to click on File, and then I'm going to click on Save Live Set, but I don't want to save it as the same name over the one that's already there. I want to save it as a new one. So I'm going to come down here to Save Live Set As. So when I click on that, it'll give me an opportunity down here to change it. So I'm going to click that and change it to Demo 2. I'm going to save that one as Demo 2. Now that I've saved the file, there's one last thing I'm going to do before I end this video, and that's to come up here to File. I'm going to come down here to Export Audio. Now this live set at the moment is made up of MIDI notes that are triggering synth sounds, and they're generating themselves on the fly. So there's no actual set track to record as such. So you might think, how do I turn that into a sound? How do I get it saved somewhere? So in this section here, you'll see that where it says render length, it's moment set to 4. Now the reason it's set to 4 is because this last recording I did was 4 bars long. So that's the longest length of a loop at the moment. But I can set that to anything I like. So I can set that to say 60. And now it will generate a 60 bar length soundtrack out of the loops that I've already got here. So what effectively will happen is this first one here, this drum beat, which is only 1 bar long, will be created 60 times, so it's 60 bars long. And this one here, which is 4 bars in length, that will be reproduced so that it fits in with that length of 60. So in this case, it's going to be that loop is going to play 15 times. And there is a calculation that you can use, and I'm not going to explain it here. I'll write it down further in the text below. But because this is running at 120 beats per minute, and there are 4 beats per bar, you can calculate that from that 60 bars will actually equate to 2 minutes. So when I click on export, you'll give me an opportunity now to save the file, and it's going to save it as a WAV file. So when I click on that and click save, it now is going to generate that file for me, and it's going to be 60 bars long, 2 minutes long. Obviously at this minute it's rendering at the moment, as it says rendering the audio, because it doesn't really exist until it's created. And that's it. There you have it.
If you've enjoyed this video, do give us the thumbs up and click on that subscribe button. Cheers.